Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Doug Rice with the Performance Racing Network. First off, we want to welcome all the folks that are watching the live stream today on NASCAR.com, and thanks to our great friends here at Bristol Motor Speedway for giving us a few minutes to look ahead to an amazing 10 days of NASCAR thunder that's coming quickly to Charlotte Motor Speedway. Of course, up on the desk here today, Scott Cooper. He is the VP of Communications at Charlotte Motor Speedway. And I think all of you know the other guy, NASCAR on Fox analyst and NASCAR Sprint Cup driver, Michael Waltrip. And when you think about the history and special things that have happened at Charlotte Motor Speedway, for a lot of folks, it flashes back to what happened 20 years ago in the NASCAR Sprint All-Star race that was known as the Winston.
We took a car that we only ran fifth in the open with. I mean, it was terrible. And we won the Winston.
Very jubilant Michael Waltrip. Michael, do you remember everything about that day pretty much?
Yeah. Getting the opportunity to drive for the Wood Brothers was a real honor. And I guess at that point, everyone that had ever driven that car had won in it. And so I really looked forward to my opportunity to get to Victory Lane. And that night was just a few months into our first year, and we were able to make the right adjustments during the break between the qualifying race and the Winston to get the victory. And a lot of people deserve a lot of credit for that win, and probably no one more than Dale Earnhardt, because he told the Wood Brothers that they needed to put me in that car, and if I got in that car, I could win for them, and I would be a good fit for their organization. And so Eddie and Lynn, as everybody did, looked up to Dale, and his word meant a lot, and his endorsement of me got me that opportunity.
And a little ironic twist, you had to pass Earnhardt to win that night.
Yeah, that was a crazy night. When they started the first segment, I don't remember how many laps it was, but we knew they were going to invert the field at the end of the first segment. And so I started last because of my finishing position in the open. And every car I passed, Eddie would remind me that I was going to have to pass him back again in the next race. But I thought it was real important for me to feel my car and drive around cars and try to see how fast I could go, so I would know what adjustments to make at the break so we could make the car better. So I think I drove up to 10th, and when they inverted the field, I started 10th and then worked my way to 4th for the final 10-lapper in the restart. And I think they had an aborted start that didn't go well for me. And then when they had the next start, I was able to clear Rusty Wallace, I think, and get behind Dale and Terry, and they eventually got together, and I passed them both. But Danny Glad was building the engines for the Wood Brothers back then, and that was like the most powerful engine I'd ever felt. I mean, it had way more power than what I was used to. I was able to do a lot of fun things that night, and so the Wood Brothers and Danny Glad made that a really special night for me.
And looking at one of the notes here that Scott Cooper provided, you got a check for $211,000, and you used that money in a pretty special way, didn't you?
Yeah, I built my mom and dad a house up in Sherrills Ford, and my dad passed away in '99, but my mama still lives there today. So I go in that house and think about the memories of how it got there, and the people that have been a part of my life that made special things happen, and I feel really blessed to go visit Mom.
And I still think to this day, because you just barely qualified for the Winston that night, it still ranks as the #1 upset, I would think, in the All-Star race by how you had to go about just to get in it.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, like I was running 5th in the Open, and you had to finish in the top 5, and Johnny Benson was in the car I'd driven throughout my whole career until '96, and he was catching me, and I'm like, I cannot let him pass me. I have to make this race. And I just changed the way I ran 3 and 4. I let off earlier and just got it all the way to the bottom and then ran the white line and was able to learn something during those final closing laps of the Open by holding off Johnny that really was important for me winning the race. So desperation, desire, it all came to be a part of the equation that night.
At 20 years ago, Scott Cooper, 2 decades ago, what do we have to look forward to this coming May at Charlotte Motor Speedway?
Well, we always do more at Charlotte than anybody else does anywhere else. My friends at Bristol, apologies to that. But this year, I really believe at Charlotte Motor Speedway, we may have the most entertainment, most excitement of anything that we've ever done at Charlotte. We're going to actually have 8 different motorsports events at Charlotte Motor Speedway featuring 6 different series over those 10 days. It's all anchored, of course, by this year the 32nd running of the NASCAR Sprint All-Star Race and the 57th running of the Coca-Cola 600. But it's not just all the action on the track. Between the Speedway and the Circle K Kangaroo Speed Street, there's going to be almost as much music as there is racing. Let's take a look and a quick listen. A lot of good times coming up at Charlotte Motor Speedway and the Charlotte region during our race weeks. We'll actually have 6 major musical acts. You just saw those, plus the Liftmaster Garage Band winner, and more than 1,400 miles of racing over the 10 days of NASCAR Thunder at Charlotte. And that's not all. I mean, fans can always go visit the NASCAR Hall of Fame. Several of the team shops will put together special fan days during the Charlotte race weeks. So there's a ton for the fans to do. And simply put, there's just no greater amount of motorsports-related entertainment anywhere in the world than what we've got to look forward to coming up in May. Now, something new this year. Fans can get all of the entertainment at Charlotte Motor Speedway with the purchase of one big mega ticket, and that's going to include the Andy Grammer concert and the Lee Brice concert. Michael, I'm going to let you help me hold it up here. We'll take a quick look at it. All right. And how's this? This year, fans that purchase this mega ticket for all 10 days at Charlotte will also receive, while supplies last, a historical CMS ticket autographed by future NASCAR Hall of Famer Jeff Gordon. And for those fans that purchase the best mega ticket package, they will actually receive an opportunity to have a selfie taken with Jeff on May 24th during Coca-Cola 600 week. Now again, supplies are limited on these 2 opportunities, so we're encouraging fans to go ahead and start calling us now to get their 10-day Mega Pass. But certainly that will be a Mega Pass memorable moment for some race fans with Jeff Gordon when we get to May at Charlotte.
If there's 2 people in the picture, isn't it an Ussie and not a selfie?
Yes, and I got a feeling we may have some families that want to jump in too, so we'll have a little more.
That'll be a wheezy.
Yeah, it will be.
So how many Ussies do you pose for then every day, Michael?
Several.
Yeah.
And they usually are preceded by, hold on a minute, let me turn the camera around. Hold on a minute, I turned it off. Hold on just a second. Oh, I've got it upside down. Okay. Oh, the lighting's terrible. Yeah, that's always entertaining to see how these selfies are taken.
Well, it's very special for us to be able to have Michael come in here. We pride ourselves a lot at Charlotte about history and about memorable moments, and certainly what he accomplished 20 years ago in the NASCAR Sprint All-Star Race was incredible. And that's something that we always look forward to. When you think about Charlotte, you think, what's that next incredible, memorable moment going to be? And we're looking forward to 2016 and glad to be able to celebrate 20 years of this with Michael. Does it feel like it's been 20 years?
No, not really. But the thing I'm most happy about is I still have that trophy prominently displayed. And my mom's house came from, the winnings of that race. And so you usually spend all your money. But I have a couple of items that are near and dear to my heart that I still have 20 years later because of that win. So those are the best memories in the world, are the trophies you're able to receive and collect.
Now, if I remember correctly, when you were in the Speedway Club with Clint Boyer a few years ago when he won the race at Charlotte, did that check actually cover what the house cost, or did you have to dip in and get some more?
It's kind of a long. Yeah, no, it didn't. I had to. I went upside down, as I have in most of my business ventures in my life. I went a little bit upside down in the building of the house, but it was certainly worth every penny of it.
That's good. Well, look, our friends at Bristol Motor Speedway have a press release that's going to be circulated about the 10 days, the schedule, all the special events, and the promotion with the Mega Ticket Pass with Jeff Gordon. So we appreciate the opportunity today. Doug Rice, Performance Racing Network, thank you so much for joining us and helping us out. And you too, Michael. We'll look forward to listening to you back up in the booth.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And I think you guys are going to pose for a quick not selfie with
Did
the
you have a
Mega
question?
Ticket.
I would love to answer it.
Michael, Stan Creekmore with RPMTonight.com. What did this win mean to your career?
It meant at the time it was the biggest moment that had ever happened to me, and the way it went down was extra special. Racing those champions, Rusty, Terry, and Dale, to get the victory, and it meant so much to me to be able to stand in victory lane beside Glenn, Lynn, and Eddie and Leonard. That moment was like you trusted me with your car, with your family car, and we're standing in victory lane. And so it was really a validating victory for me because of that opportunity. And I think we got to Charlotte that year 4th or 5th in the points. Like, we had a great start to the 96 season, and it was a lot of fun driving for those guys for 3 years. Yes, sir.
Go ahead, Jeff.
I was wondering, you recall so much detail about that race and that night and everything. Is that something that you've gotten through going back and watching it over the years, or do you vividly remember it like that well?
I vividly remember it that well. Like, I haven't gone back and watched many races, and even the ones I've been able to have success in, I just haven't done that. But there are just so many things about that night that just resonate so clearly with me, including me and my buddy had driven over there in a convertible 1974 Cadillac that Saturday afternoon, and loading that trophy in the back and getting in the car with your buddy. My family had driven separately, and we drove out of the Charlotte Motor Speedway with the darn trophy to the Winston. And when we drove in there that day, we would have never dreamed that big. I mean, and so it was special. Big night for me and in my career.